Ryan wakes up in his car after being made to spend the night there. When he returns to his room, Tree and Carter are making out, and Carter demands him to leave. Ryan heads to the school's science lab to meet up with his friends Samar and Dre. They have been working on an experiment involving a reactor they have developed until Dean Bronson enters the lab and tells them to stop since it keeps causing harm to the school's power supply. Later that day, Ryan checks the closet in the science lab. Samar suddenly appears behind him, startling Ryan, then the babyface killer bursts from the closet to stab him in the chest. Ryan then wakes up at the start of the same day and realizes everything has happened exactly the same as it did the previous time. He goes to his room to tell Tree and Carter about what's going on. Tree realizes he is now stuck in his own death time loop and tells him that she also went through the exact same situation and her experiences, so he can understand what has happened. She and Carter agree to help Ryan in finding out who is trying to kill him. They begin by retracing his steps back to the lab, but no one is in the closet when they look. When Ryan shows Tree and Carter the reactor, she realizes Ryan is the one who triggered the time loop that kept her reliving Monday the 18th. A fire alarm goes off at a pep rally. Ryan notices Babyface staring directly at him as the students are being led outside and begins to run away from him, with Babyface close after. He catches up to Ryan, but Tree uses a bat to take him down. When they remove his mask, they discover that the murderer is none other than himself. It's actually a version of Ryan from another timeline. He has come to kill Ryan from this timeline in order to prevent him from causing a catastrophic event with the reactor. Ryan from this timeline goes to start the reactor in an attempt to fix the timelines, just as Bronson comes to stop them. Ryan from another timeline attempts to destroy the reactor, but it explodes, causing a massive explosion that throws everyone back. Tree wakes up in Carter's room. She hears her birthday ringtone and realizes she is once again reliving Monday the 18th. Tree freaks out and storms the campus with Carter and Ryan. She realizes this time, things are different, as Danielle isn't at the dorm waiting for her. Tree goes to her room looking for Lori. She demands to give her the poisoned cupcake that she insists Lori was preparing, but she tells Tree that there is no cupcake, which means Lori does not intend to kill Tree. While in the dining hall, Ryan explains the multiverse to Tree. Then Tree is surprised that Carter is dating Danielle in this timeline and seems to be nicer, unlike the Danielle that she knows. Tree then goes to join her father David for her birthday lunch. To Tree's great surprise, her mother Julie is still alive in this timeline. For the first time in years, she goes to tearfully embrace her mother and they spend their time celebrating both Tree and her mother's birthdays. She stops Ryan and his friends from fixing the timeline. Tree later looks through her phone and discovers years of memories with her mother that she's unaware of. Just as Tree is deciding to stay in this dimension, she sees a TV news report about John Toombs being taken to the hospital. She rushes over to the hospital. She grabs an axe and enters Toombs' room. She is caught by a cop and forced to drop the axe and cuffs her. The cop is escorting Tree out, then Babyface stabs the cop to death. She continues to believe the babyface killer is Lori until Lori appears in the elevator behind her and grabs Tree to safety. Lori leads her through a construction area, but Babyface finds them and stabs Lori in the chest, killing her. He then chases Tree up the stairs, but she manages to trip him down. He gets up quickly and catches Tree on the roof. She stumbles and plunges to her death. Tree wakes up on the same day once again and finds she is still in the alternate timeline. She goes to the lab with Ryan and explains she wants to stay in this dimension and asks Ryan to close the loop. However, finding the right algorithm to restart the reactor requires Tree to die several times until she can memorize the correct algorithm. Tree then goes through a series of suicide, including electrocuting herself in the tub, drinking drain cleaner, skydiving in her underwear with no parachute on. When she wakes up again, the trauma from her constant deaths takes its toll on her. She collapses in Carter's arms, then he takes her to the hospital. Tree is met by Gregory, who has no idea who Tree is, because he is not her student in this dimension and is also having an affair with Lori. Tree tells him to go get Lori away from Toombs. Tree rushes out and knocks the cop unconscious in order to steal his gun. Lori is already dead when she arrives at the operating room. Toombs appears behind Tree, but she shoots him twice. It's Toombs, but he's not the real killer. The real babyface killer appears and tries to take the gun from Tree's hands. She sees a flammable gas tank and shoots it to kill them both. Tree wakes up and begs her friends to fix the loops as soon as possible since she doesn't know how much longer she has until she dies. She tells Carter that they are together in the other timeline and that's why it's hard for her to make a choice between him and her mom. Carter tells Tree that she is living someone else's life and that she should not dwell in the past. Tree leaves, goes to lunch with her parents, and begins to feel pain again. Tree begs her parents to pick her up and leave the university. When Tree hears Julie mention having a treat for their birthdays as they're driving, she understands what Carter meant because these memories aren't her own. The family rests in a hotel. Ryan texts Tree to let her know that they are close to closing the loops. While David is in the restroom, Tree approaches Julie and asks her what she would do if she had never met David. Julie says she can't picture her life without him, and she tells Tree about how she changed her life after she was born. Tree sees on TV that Toombs has escaped and killed Carter, Lori, and a police officer. Tree realizes that if the loop closes, Carter and Lori will remain dead, so she has to stop the loop from closing. She takes the car keys and hurries out, trying but failing to reach Ryan as he and the others are preparing for the reactor to go off. Tree speeds toward a power plant and charges into a box to stop the reactor from going off and closing the loop. When Tree is resurrected, she proceeds to tell Ryan the algorithm, but this time, she has made the decision to go back to her original timeline. Tree goes around trying to get closure. She meets Lori and sincerely advises her to stop her relationship with Gregory, since she knows it is not worthwhile. She then goes to Danielle's room to apologize for being wrong about her, only to see a guy emerge from the bathroom with nothing but a towel on. Finally, Tree goes to have the birthday lunch with her parents. She asks David to give her some time alone with Julie, her one final moment with her mother. Bronson and 2 security guards arrive a day early to seize the reactor. Tree asks Danielle to pretend to be a blind French student in order to distract Bronson, while they take his keys and enter the office where the reactor is. That evening, Tree goes to the hospital to save Lori. She enters the room, armed with the cop's gun, and shoots Toombs before he can attack. They run out, but are cornered by the babyface killer. Tree correctly guesses that the killer in this timeline is Gregory, wanting to silence Lori for their affair. Gregory's wife Stephanie arrives to shoot Lori before they can escape. She gives the gun to Gregory to shoot Tree, but she kills Stephanie first. As Gregory is about to shoot Tree, Carter shows up. Tree runs and grabs a weapon, and Gregory chases her. He leads Tree in a room with a powerful magnet that he doesn't know. She holds a screwdriver as he points his gun at her. She turns the powerful magnet on, snagging Gregory with a metal chair. Tree releases the screwdriver, it pierces Gregory's chest and kills him. When Carter arrives, he and Tree assist Lori in getting onto a stretcher. Even though Lori is unable to understand what Tree is saying, she apologizes to her and expresses her regret for how things have turned out. Ryan, Samar, and Dre have started the reactor, but Bronson and the guards are attempting to stop them again. Samar and Dre are trying to hold them off as long as they can, while the reactor turns on. Tree tells Carter again that they are together in the other timeline. They kiss just as the reactor reaches its peak, barely a split second before Bronson pulls the plug. Everyone wakes up in the room right before the first blast. Tree turns to Carter and speaks, "Danielle," to which he replies, "Who?" She happily leaps on him as she realizes she is back in her timeline. They are ordered to do community service as punishment for turning on the reactor. An agent from DARPA arrives to escort them to the headquarters. They have taken the reactor, and Ryan is commended for his scientific breakthrough. DARPA needs a human subject to trap in a time loop in order to use it in an experiment. Tree claims to have the ideal applicant. Danielle wakes up in bed screaming. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new release. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.